Alright, welcome back to my channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is planting onions. I had great success with 3 varieties of onions, and I got them right here. Now I purchased these at Dixondale Farms. I'm going to put a link to their site underneath the video here in the description. If you know nothing about onions, it's the perfect place to buy onions. You can't go wrong, and I'll explain it to you in a second here. The 3 varieties that I picked were these are called the yellow granics. These are called the Texas Super Sweets, and these are called the red Southern Belle. Now the red Southern Belles are red onions, and the thing I liked about them is that they were mellow. You know that some red onions are extremely pungent, they're powerful, and you get to the point where you really can't even eat them. These are not like that. These are mellow, they're flavorful, they have that red onion flavor to them, but they're mild, and like I said, they're very flavorful. The Super Sweets and the yellow granics, they're just big sweet onions. They're just big suckers, man. I was trying to find pictures of them from last year, but I could not find them for the life of me. If I do have them, I'll post them up here. But I could not find any pictures that I took, and I remember taking pictures of them. But anyways, they're very big. They'll fit right in the palm of your hand like a big old softball. Very delicious. They grow very well here. Now, what I want to show you here, if you go to the Dixondale Farm website, now I'm going to put a link to this page that I'm going to show you right here. Now at the bottom of that, circled in red here, you're going to click on either short day, intermediate, or long day onions, depending on where you live. And when you click on that, it'll bring you to all the onions they have for your particular area. Okay? You really can't go wrong. Now as far as planting your onions, it's going to be the same no matter where you live. Preferably you want them in raised beds or in raised rows. Okay? Onions like their soil to be moist but not wet. Okay, because they'll rot eventually if it's too wet. Which surprised me because in 2021, the spring of 2021, we had so much rain here, an unusual amount of rain, that most of my garden failed. Okay, it was just ridiculous. But the onions survive just fine with all the rain that we have. Raised beds, raised rows would be good. Your soil has to have a lot of organic material in there. Okay, so if your soil is hard, your bulbs can't grow. Okay, so put a lot of organic material in there, like compost and whatever kind of compost you can get your hands on. Put it in there, mix it with your native soil. Okay. Manure, compost, those kinds of things, and then till it into your native soil and make sure it's nice and fluffy. Next, I personally add azomite. Azomite to your soil is wonderful stuff. I had great success with it. It is a volcanic ash, and it's just a good all-round mineral for your soil. I sprinkle that in the top. Next, get yourself some organic. I mean, you can go, synthetic fertilizer. That's all totally up to you. Me personally, I like organic. I put some organic fertilizer, spread it in on the top of your soil. Then get yourself a rake and lightly rake the top of the soil and rake it into the first inch or 2 of the soil. Because you got to remember, onions, although they are a root vegetable, they don't go deep into the soil. They only go a couple inches at most. So that's where you want your nutrients, right at the top. Then when it rains and stuff, of course, it'll bring it down into the soil more. But onions, garlic, those type of root vegetables, they're more on the top of your soil, the first inch or 2. All right, so now that I have my minerals in here, I have my fertilizer, we are ready to plant. And so let's do that next. So now what we want to do is put like a little trench with the rake here, and it's just to mark where your onions are going to go. And you want them roughly 6 inches apart. Now ideally you want them at least 8 inches apart, okay? That would be ideal, 8 inches. If you're going to do rows of them, if you're not going to do them in raised beds like this, but since I'm doing them in raised beds, I have to kind of cram things together. I have a lot of onions to plant here. I need to cram things together, but not close enough to where it's going to hinder their growth, okay? So 6 inches apart is what I did last year, and it turned out excellent. You just don't want nothing to restrict the bulb from growing, the onion bulb. So what I'm going to try and do here is do one variety, another variety, and if I have a little room left over, I got just a small one bunch of these southern red bells here, or these southern bell reds. Southern bell reds, that's what they're called. So if I have a little room left over on the end, if I remember correctly, last year I only had 2 beds of onions, and then a certain portion of the bed I had the red onions in there. Again, these are very mild, very good red onions. Okay, so let me bring you in closer and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Alright, so when you get your onions in the mail, they're going to come in a box like this, depending on how many you get, but they'll usually come in a box. As soon as you get them, open the box up, and preferably they're going to be wrapped like in a rubber band. Open them up and separate them like this, and you can leave them like this for up to, they say 3 weeks. I wouldn't push 2 weeks, to tell you the truth, but they say up to 3 weeks is okay. The plant will stay alive. The ends will dry up a little bit like this, but it's okay because they live off the bulb. So up to 3 weeks they say, but personally 2 weeks, I wouldn't go much more than that. For me it's been less. Well, has it been? It's actually been a few days. And you want to plant your onions 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost. So very simple. We're going to do these 6 inches apart. You're going to put your finger in the soil about an inch. That's all you want, an inch, and put your onion in there, and do that every 6 inches. Whoops, we got a little baby one here. And just keep working your way down your rows. Now onions, depending on the variety, they can take anywhere from, I don't know, 2 months to over 3 months to the time they are ready for harvest, depending on the variety. But I did a video on that, but I'm going to put that link up here about harvesting your onions. Generally, onions, when they get tall and the tips start to get a little brown, and at the neck of the plant it falls over, they are ready to harvest. By that time you should have some good bulbs on them. As far as fertilizing them, I would fertilize them, I mean, go with the recommendations on your fertilizer. Organic fertilizers is a slow release, whereas a synthetic fertilizer is an instant release. If it's synthetic, I would do it every 2 to 3 weeks, fertilize. Organic fertilizer, I would sprinkle the fertilizer on there regularly, every I don't know, every 3 to 4 weeks. Put it on there, but when the bulbs start to grow, when you see the bulbs start growing, stop fertilizing. After that, just make sure the soil is moist and not wet, of course. And obviously, if it's raining a lot, don't water it, obviously. And that's pretty much it, guys. And as soon as you see that neck fall over and the tips turn brown and the neck fall over, you're ready to harvest. All right guys, so I'm going to continue on planting here and fill up these 2 beds. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video.